Hello and welcome to round 40 of the Fox Friday Championship in 2024 in Live for Speed. Tonight, round 40 at Kyoto Ring GP Long Reversed here on Sim Broadcasts. I'm Peter Butcher, and joining me in the commentary box, it's Michael Málek. Michael, are you here?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, all good, all good. Welcome along for round 40. While you get yourself set up, we'll introduce the viewers to what they're going to be treated to this evening. Let's take a look very quickly at the running order for this evening. We are at the 7.4 kilometre, 4.6 mile Grand Prix long reversed configuration here at Kyoto with two 16-lap races, both with a mandatory pit stop. But that second race with the all-important top 15 reverse grid, pole position in race 2 is determined by whoever gets P15 in race 1. So all eyes on that. But beforehand, we have a one-shot qualifying session to separate all of our drivers and get them all lined up on the grid to see how they're going to start for race 1. One out lap, one flying lap. It's going to be absolutely brilliant as per usual in the 2-litre inline 4 mid-engine rear-wheel drive Formula XR in Live for Speed, one of the most popular stock cars in the game, still delivering in 2024. Here's the schedule, just 3 rounds to go after today, and including today rather, with round 44 and 49, the grand finale happening on December the 20th. So, yep, things are getting pretty close to the end here. And speaking of pretty close, we can take a look at the Drivers' Championship standings and just see how close those standings are. At the top of the timesheets, it's TJ. He's leading by 130 points over Rex, and then we've got Roger Chen in P3 with Gabor in P4. An independent driver, Michael, in P3 in the championship. That's good.
Yeah, that's very good to see, and it's great to see so many great drivers attending this series regularly. And every Friday we are having great races here, and I am sure that tonight will be no different.
Yeah, absolutely. A great season packed full of talent. And, well, it's not over yet. We're going to see plenty more action, hopefully plenty more drama to come. As we let these results kind of slide on by, we will see how everyone's lined up before we take a look at the team's championship standings. and then we're into qualifying for around about half an hour of one-shot quali laps, which are always fun to watch here. So yeah, let's take a look at the teams standing, shall we, and see how they are currently stacked up. It is going to be the Fragmasters and Road Appraiser teams that are duking it out at the very, very top of this championship. With 2,273 points, Rex and Onifus lead the way ahead of Road Appraiser by just 10 points. Can you believe? That is super close, Michael.
Yeah, this is close indeed, and I didn't yet check which drivers are on the server tonight, but I am sure that we will still be very close ahead of the final race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting very, very close. There's nothing at all to choose, really, between the top two teams. Sidus have slipped a little way down the order, and no sign actually of any of the Sidus guys on the server just now. We'll have to wait and see if any of them do show up. But yeah, it's looking like a two-horse race in the teams championship at this time. But that's not it. We've got over 40 teams entered this year and all scoring healthy amounts of points. But yeah, there's quite a stark difference, isn't there, between the points of the big guns and the teams further down the order. All eyes on Rex and Onifus, TJ and Doctor, as they fight it out in these last 3 rounds of the 2024 championship to see who's going to get that team's trophy. Michael, we're nearly ready to go for one-shot quali.
I'm as ready as ever, and I think we are about half a minute before the qualifying session starts. So I see there are 37 people connected to the server. Some are staff, so we will have about 30 plus drivers getting ready for tonight's 2 races, both 16 laps long. So plenty of actions awaiting for us.
Yeah, there were at least 40 cars setting laps in practice earlier. So we're going to have an absolutely bumper grid. This is an insanely popular combination. Kyoto in the Fox is a treat. Doesn't matter really what layout you choose, but Grand Prix long reversed never ever fails to disappoint. We're not running Boothie, so it's going to be a straight shoot through the chicane. Which will kind of make things a little bit interesting. It is slightly modified, so it's not the stock chicane. So the drivers will have to potentially be a bit more cautious than they would do normally. But either way, let's head to the track and get a look at quali. Looks like qualifying hasn't quite started yet, so we will hang on just a moment. But as soon as we get qualifying pictures to you, we will show them, of course. But yeah, I think we are now on the track. Michael, let's get the first car on the cameras.
Absolutely, and it should be common folk for this racing evening. Roger Chen, we know him very well. He's here pretty much every time we are broadcasting, and this will be a long outlap, so we will have some time to speak about anything, and we can observe a whole track from his perspective, both on this lap and the flying lap, which he will be doing as soon as he crosses the start finish line.
Yeah, it is a long lap. We're going to get 2 16-lap races, so plenty of time to observe how drivers complete this, but not in qualifying because we tend to they tend to all bunch up at the end of the lap. So once the first car crosses the line after their flying lap, the laps will come thick and fast. So you could just see there the modified first chicane. Well, actually, it's the second chicane, isn't it? This way around that Roger just navigated. The chicane that has become kind of known as Boothie. However, Boothie was the one that kind of modified it to slow it down into more of 2 distinct corners rather than a straight run through the apexes. As Roger Chen throws it into Spoon, and we'll head underneath the bridge before he throws it into that corner. Turn 9 in the normal direction. Infamous turn here in either direction. Cars going off. Less likely to have a horrific accident in this direction there. but plenty of other places that are tricky on the lap for the drivers. Roger will now start to think about how he wants to get the car prepared for his flying lap. Does he want to get the tyres a little bit warmer or even more evenly distributed with the heat? Yeah, so he's putting some heat in the rears there, Michael. I think a lot of drivers are going to be doing that.
Yeah, the outlap is very long and it's a perfect opportunity to heat up the tires. So I think absolutely everyone will be doing that. And I think this lap might be so long that some might use R2 tires for qualifying. I'm not sure yet, but I see in the past some folks did so.
Yeah, drivers that aren't so confident of being able to manage the tyre temperature on an out lap and a hot lap do tend to use the harder compound, but let's see what Roger can manage on his flying lap as we follow him down the home straight. We'll get a full lap actually on board, hopefully, if he manages to complete it. Let's see what Roger can do on our benchmark lap. Across start finish he comes, and he needs to widen the line out to the left-hand side a little bit. Not all the way, of course, because the car is not fast enough really to need all of the turn in for turn one. Then a quick right and left into turn 3 now, I guess, and then down onto the power once again through another couple of very wide apexes. Very easy to follow cars through here, not necessarily if they're side by side, however. And you definitely don't want to be side by side heading into this modified chicane. You can see the gap slightly widens as you get close to it, but still difficult, especially if you're going for a move just before or just after those apexes there. Then onto the long oval section, down to the apron. Don't put a wheel in the gutter there. It will spin up the rear wheels, upset the rear differential. Then you want to go all the way to the left before you throw it into spoon. And let's listen to the gearbox. Does he keep it pinned? Does he decide to change down a gear or a slight lift? Was it? Yes, he is slightly lifting. He's not confident with the downforce there, Michael. So feeling as though he needed to lift slightly. Wasn't trusting of the car to keep it stuck entirely to the road. Through that corner he goes, another small lift, so not the most committed lap that we've seen from Roger Chen, but again, it's one-shot quali. You can't really go for 100% commitment if you want to get a decent qualifying position if you haven't got full confidence. If you've got full confidence, then sometimes it can go well, sometimes it can go not so well, and you might find yourself finishing outside the top 40 in qualifying. A couple more corners to go then. 4 corners to go, including this one here, which is on camber. Very, very difficult corner. Not easy at all, but Roger seems to have done that fairly okay. This is a nice opportunity for a slipstream. If you get a good exit out of the previous corner, then you can get a nice run down here. And if you tuck just in front of the driver before the penultimate corner, which is coming up now, they'll get a nice slice of dirty air and you'll be able to drag away from them on the straight, which is here. A pretty good end to the lap, but I don't think Roger's going to be 100% happy with the time here. This was not the smoothest, was not the most dedicated lap, or committed lap rather. 2:15 is our benchmark, Michael.
Yeah, it's still a pretty decent lap, I would say, but it's safe to say that it probably won't be a pole position time in this session. So let's see if the next driver, which should be Onifus, yeah, as we are watching him right now. Let's see if he's able to beat his lap. And I got information in the ear that Finuke actually is the driver closest to the finishing the qualifying lap, so let's switch the view on him. He's just 2 corners away from the final straight, and I don't expect him to beat the provisional position time by Roger Chen, so at least for now Roger Chen should stay ahead. Let's see what time Finuke makes, and he's lost 2 seconds behind. And now let's go back to Onifus, the Fragmaster teammate, who is again 2 corners away from completing the lap pretty much. And seems like he had a pretty decent split times, so he might get a pretty good time. Let's see in a few seconds when he crosses that finish line.
Yeah, this is important for Onifus because this is the first time of our top 2 teams in the Teams Championship challenge. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to beat Roger. Roger's done it for now. Wow, I expected Onifus there to go ahead, but he's lost a lot of time. He's lost 7/10 of a second somewhere, Michael. So Roger Chen has beaten Onifus so far.
Absolutely, but another Fragmaster member, Rex, should be able to take that time. I'm not sure what his split time was, but he's usually a very fast guy, so it is possible that he...
Ooh,
no, he must have made a
he had a
mistake.
bad lap. Yeah. We've got
Terrible lap.
Pantheo next, so let's see if Pantheo can stir the pot. Kai Puro here. Can he go fastest of the Fragmaster cars? Onifus at the moment is the fastest of those guys, but there's a big deficit to Roger Chen, 7/10 of a second. I didn't give his lap enough credit, apparently. Apologies for that, Roger. It looked at times like he wasn't full power and he was lifting at apexes. It's not the normal flat-out committed lap that you get from a Fox, and Pantheo goes P3. So beats Rex and Finn UK. Next we've got Gabri, who has joined the Master Race Car team. And coming across start-finish, let's see where Gabri can put the car. It's P2, faster than all of the Fragmaster cars so far.
So happy to see that as a Master Race Car member. Let's see if Happy is able to beat
a new
them
Master
as
Race
well.
Car member as well.
Yeah, he's very fresh in the Master Race Car lineup, and I'm pretty confident to say that he's doing a great job for us.
Cross start finish for Happy D, and it's faster still. So the Fragmaster drivers are being pushed a long way down the order here. Not good for Onifus. We'll have to wait and see where Road Appraiser end up, because Onifus and Rex, well, Rex is in last place currently. Let's see what Alt Payson can do. Just coming up to the penultimate corner now, and well, he's got 4 of his teammates' times on the board in front of him. He knows what times they've set. Where does he feel he can slot in? Fragmaster beaten at their own game so far, but let's see what Al Payson can manage. It's second place in the Fragmaster bunch, but not able to break into the top 3. So 5 FM cars all together at the back at the moment. Hiwatt comes across the line and splits Onifus and Al Payson. The P5. Good lap. And next we've got another Sonoris driver, AK Destroyer. So new names to me here, but good to see new faces as P9 for AK Destroyer. Now the first and I think only of the World Class Lions drivers this evening. Coming across start finish. P4 for Pekka Koivunen. Apologies for the timing glitch there, but P4 for Koivunen at the moment. Next we've got Speed just entering the final corner there. And next the first of the Road Appraiser cars, but let's see what Speed can manage. P11. Doctor for Road Appraiser, currently P2 in the Teams Championship. See what he can do.
The Doctor had a pretty strong split so far, so this might be a very powerful lap when he crosses the start-finish line. And he goes
P2,
second fastest.
400ths. 400ths of a second. It's not TJ next, it's Pedro. Pedro is not part of the Road Appraiser, the first Road Appraiser team. So this is inconsequential for the main standings, but nonetheless, let's see what Pedro is going to manage today. Can he force Onifus and Rex back further down the grid? Protect Doctor and TJ potentially. Let's see what Pedro can manage. Cross start finish. It's pole position provisionally for Pedro. That's exactly what he needed.
Lap.
Yeah, brilliant lap.
And so far it looks like TJ might improve that time even more, so let's wait a few seconds to see how well it goes for him. He's only a few seconds away from crossing the finish line, and will it be enough? Yes, it is. The provisional position for TJ now.
So the first driver under the 15-second mark, or the 2-minute 15-second mark, is TJ. Next we've got Penguin for Team America. Into the final chicane he comes. See what he can manage. But that is a very weird looking grid order so far. Rex all the way at the back with an awful lap. 12th place for Penguin. Sim Racing Polska. Hachiroku first. Chameleon also out somewhere on the track as well as Master. So 3 drivers from the Sim Racing Polska lineup here this evening. Let's see what Hachiroku can manage. P10. Next we have Chameleon.
Only P10 for him, so let's see if his teammate Chameleon will do better. So far, Chameleon has worse split than his teammates, so I expect him to end up behind Hachiroku, but let's see if he improves the last sector.
Across start finish for Chameleon and P17, so still ahead of Rex, but barely. We've got Master next, running a slightly different livery from his teammates, running the Williams outfit there from a few years ago. And runs a little bit wide onto the grass out of the final corner. Won't cost him too much time, but let's see what he can manage. P8, good time. Born to Race Rocket. Apparently the only Born to Race car on the circuit. Unusual. Normally we have an army of Born to Race drivers in our weekly pickup series, but not tonight. Rocket is flying solo as it stands. And let's see what Rocket can do. P16 only. Hayden next.
It looks like Hayden will end up towards the back of the grid, as his split sector wasn't very strong. He's several seconds off the pace, so he's only 20th as he crosses the finish line. And we now switch to Hermani, who also didn't have a very strong middle sector. And let's see what his time will be when he finishes this lap. He's about 2 seconds down what should be optimal for him, so probably the second half of the grid as well.
Well, let's see. Onto the home straight to be our 22nd driver to cross start finish, and Hermani goes 21st. Let's see what Jay can manage in the Alfa Romeo. Onto the home straight for Jay. And who has got it in the tank to challenge the Road Appraiser drivers? P1, 2 and 4 at the moment. Jay goes 12th, decent time. Next it's going to be Cubs.
Yeah, Cubs is probably a newcomer to this series, as I don't think I've seen him before. Okay, I've been corrected that he's been a few times around here, so yeah, my bad. My memory doesn't serve that well.
It's alright, there's a lot of drivers and yeah. There's a lot of things to remember, but yeah, some drivers do tend to slip under the radar. Cubs he's been in and out. Let's see what he can manage in quali. 24th, so last place, not ideal. Kirku across the line in 18th. Probably won't be happy with that one. Next we have Nando Lonzo.
Yeah, Nando had a decent split through the lap, so he might be up to some good lap. Let's see. Build the line now, and he's in P14, which I think is pretty decent.
Bit of a wait for our next time. Pit Pulga. It's a nice livery though. Very vibrant rear end. Quite like the stripes down the side.
This is a pretty good looking car. So,
it is.
In the same wagon. His on-track performance, although isn't as great, so he will end up in the second half of the grid, I guess. But as long as he's able to manage to pull some steady laps like that, he might perform well in the race, where quick lap times do not matter that much, and consistency is rewarded. So let's watch him coming to the start-finish straight. And he will cross the line in about 5 seconds.
Here we go.
He does so in 20 seconds,
Ooh.
so not very strong. As we are now switching to Sidus Zesty, the first Sidus driver here in the qualifying.
Yeah, I was wondering if there were going to be any joining. Zesty's made it out on track.
Yeah, looks like Zesty is the only Sidus driver here tonight, at least at this particular point, so this might be a little difficult for the Teams Championship for Sidus.
Yeah, they are with quite a deficit, 200 points going into the last 3 rounds. Mathematically possible still to win, but a tall order. Shame more of them aren't here, but nonetheless, Zesty flying the flag. Great to have him along. Let's see what he can manage. Can Zesty challenge for the pole time? What's the split looking like, Michael?
Well, he's not just flying the flag, he's absolutely flying around the track, and he has the fastest split I've seen so far this evening. So as long as he doesn't make any mistake like that, he might be up to get some opposition time. I'm not sure now, but let's see if he's still able to snatch that. And he's on the 4th now. That was a very costly mistake.
That's how close it is at the front. I mean, yeah, he's cost himself 0.4 of a second. As we see Spider-Man now in the Ferrari livery that he always uses, coming up to the final complex of corners. If you're just joining us, this is one-shot qualifying, which will set the grid for race 1. And our first 16-lap race is going to be coming up in about 9 minutes' time. Here comes Spider-Man to the line. El Nano's quite close behind, following him to the line, but Spider-Man goes P28, not ideal. And El Nano slots in 12th, so a nice time. Ooh.
And there is the next car over the line, which will be Sephor. We're watching him right now. And he has a pretty strong sector so far, so he might be up to the first half of the grid if he doesn't make any serious mistake in the last 2 turns. He has a pretty decent line through there, using all the curbs available. But he avoids the grass. Yeah, it was a perfect exit, and let's see how fast he gets across the start-finish line. The line now, and he's 7th, which is a pretty strong result for him, I would say.
Energy Virtual Racing's William Lima is coming up to the final few corners. Good to have him back on the grid. And let's see what he can manage. I've always loved the EVR liveries. I think they're really, really smart. And, well, let's see if William can get it up the order slightly. A good exit out the final corner. A proven driver. He's been around the block. See what he can manage today. Yeah, P6. Decent time. fourth of our Road Appraiser drivers, Ricardo, coming round Spoon. Under the footbridge now, down to that corner. Bit of a gap between the drivers at the tail end of qualifying. We've still got Hector and Pato. Hector is on an outlap. Pato's not on the main track yet. So at the moment we have 32 qualifiers. Ricardo will be 33rd. So potentially we're looking at a 34 car shootout at the end of our one-shot qualifying session. But some drivers may elect to start from the back instead of going out. Let's see how Ricardo ends the lap here. Slightly different livery, isn't it, Michael, from his teammates? Slightly unusual one.
Yeah, very interesting livery, but I would say it doesn't slow him down that much as he has a strong sector and he should be up to a very strong starting position as he crosses the line and he's ninth.
Wow, there you go, nice. So all of the Road Appraiser drivers are in the top 10. And we switch to Hector, who is just about starting a flying lap now, but only on the oval. So a bit of a wait while we watch Hector navigate Kyoto 3 reversed. Under the Chromo Bridge, and you've got to be fully committed through that corner, which is this one here. Yeah, flat out for Hector. So far so good. And then into these sweeping corners, a sort of a non-event through this double left, but you don't want to get the tyres hooked onto these massive curbs. As you can hear, the engine note change as the rear differential is unsettled, and it's a bit of a laboured finish to sector 2. As into the final sector he comes for 4 more corners. And in about 30 short seconds we will have our grid for race number 1. I think the story in qualifying here, not just that TJ managed to get pole provisionally here, Michael, but the fastest placed Fragmaster car is in P13 currently. Here comes Hector, and it's P31.
Yeah, if there's something that definitely wasn't on my bingo card, it was Fragmaster not being in top 10 in qualifying, so that's definitely a surprising result, and they will have a hard task to do in the race to get through the field.
Yeah, all the drivers head out onto the track for a final couple of minutes of practice, but it's TJ in 2 minutes 14.96. The only driver to get into the 15s takes pole position for race 1. Pedro, his teammate, will be lining up, but that is not going to be a scoring driver in the team's championship. You have to look down to 5th place to find Dr. TJ's actual teammate in this series. But Roger Chen takes P3, a very, very nice opening lap. I was a bit dismissive of it in the beginning, Michael. I was a bit like, well, could have gone quicker, which obviously you could, but in the end it was good enough for 3rd place. Zesty, a bit of an error at the end of his lap, puts him 300ths of a second behind Roger, with Doctor, as I said, in 5th, William Lima, Happy D, Suffor, Ricardo, and Gabri, your top 10. Pekka Koivunen in 11th there for World Class Lines, the only World Class Lines driver on the grid this evening, which is unusual. Then it's Master, Onifus, Hiwatt, El Nano, Hachiroku, J, Al Payson, Nando Alonso, and Pantheo.
And on the second screen, P21, it's Penguin, followed by Fragmaster Fin UK, then Board 2 Race Rocket, Kurko 87, AK Destroyer, Speed G27, Pitbulga, Chameleon, Hayden, Hermane in P30, and then it's Hector, Fragmaster Rex, Spider-Man, and the last qualified driver, Cubes, is in P34. So we have a very strong and I would say a healthy grid awaiting the race number 1, which will happen in a few minutes. Also forget it will be one of 2 races. Both will be 16 laps long, and in both races, everyone will have to do a 1 mandatory pit stop. So there's some strategy going on, and it will be interesting to see how these individual drivers will play that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just under 5 minutes to go before lights out for race number 1. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment's time. Welcome back to coverage of round number 40 of the Fragmasters Fox Friday series in Live for Speed. We have 3 minutes to go before lights out for race number 1. Peter Butcher here alongside Michael Málek in the commentary box. We've got Chris McElroy in the background too, helping us out with everything on the broadcast side of things. And yeah, we've got all of you lot watching as well. Thanks very much for joining us on your Friday evening for some fantastic Fox Friday action. Michael, the season is wearing to a close, but we've still got plenty of racing to go this year.
Absolutely. We are now on round 40 of this year's Fragmaster Fox Friday season, and there are still 2 more broadcasted events that we will cover before the year ends. But otherwise, this series is taking place absolutely every Friday, and it's going uninterrupted for, I don't know, 14 years at least. They did celebrate 14 years anniversary this year, I believe. So that's for how long this series is going on, and I believe it's one of the longest standing series in Live for Speed, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the longest running weekly championship in Live for Speed. You are right. And yeah, we're in the 15th year of this championship now, so absolutely epic. 34 drivers qualified just a moment ago for race number 1. 16 laps plus a mandatory pit stop. They don't have to do any work in that pit stop. They just have to stop in a box and then drive off again. But remember, the pit lane always poses a bit of a risk, a bit of a challenge. The drivers will have to get down to the pit lane speed limit, maintain that speed, and release the pit lane speed limiter just at the right time in order not to pick up a drive-through penalty or worse. And well, we've seen plenty of times this season and in previous years the effect that can have if you get it wrong. So that will definitely shake things up. Pole position in race 2 will be determined by a reverse top 15 grid from race number 1. So whoever finishes 15th in race 1 will get pole, and 14th will be second, etc, etc, etc. If you finish 16th, unlucky, you're starting 16th for race 2, and that's the way that will go. Michael, we've got less than a minute to go before the start of race 1. I'm ready, you're ready, everyone's ready, hopefully. It's going to be a good one.
Absolutely ready, and I have one point to make. That you mentioned that they have to keep the car under the speed limit, and this car actually does not have a speed limiter, so they have to keep the speed on their own. So you can expect some drivers to make mistakes and accidentally overspeed in the pit lane and receive drive-through penalties.
Yeah, definitely adds to the challenge. You're right. And it's going to be TJ alongside Pedro, Roger Chen and Zesty on the second row, Dr. William Lima, Happy D, Sufor and Ricardo and Gabri there on row 5. And well, it's a relatively long run down to, or rather up to, the first corner on this configuration. But the real telling point is going to be the pinch point of the second chicane, Michael, where these barriers have been placed. Let's go to the track and see how it goes. Take us away for the start, please.
And there we go. We have all the cars lined up on the starting grid, getting ready for the start of this first race tonight. We are waiting for the lights to go red, and as soon as they go green, this race will be started. We have TJ on the pole position with Pedro right next to him, his teammate. Lights are red, and we are going green in Fragmaster Fox Friday in Kyoto. And it's a pretty good start from TJ, but Pedro is able to keep in the slipstream and might pull alongside, but it looks like he's actually bum drafting his partner. So they are trying to pull away from everyone else. Zesty has advanced over Roger Chen and goes into P3 and makes a small mistake. There's some little contacts, but otherwise everyone is pointing in the correct direction. As somebody spun, it's Hivad who goes. Yeah, he's backwards, and we are now approaching the bottleneck point where it's a single line, and if you try to go side by side it might not end up well. Let's see if everyone gets through safely. So far it looks so good, and we are now onto the oval section. We just is still in P3, and the Road to Preza duo just steaming away in the first two places. Just will be soon under the pressure from another Road to Preza driver, Doctor, who has a goggle of course four wide into the spoon turn, and almost I think they did touch but didn't kill each other, which is great to see, as Rajasthan has started at P3 and he's now in 5th place and is dropping like stones, so not a great start for him. As we are watching now, William Lima in the dirty air, almost collecting some grass on the outside of that turn. He's now alongside another driver. I'm not sure who that.
Oh, contact.
Yeah, contact in the background. Rocket has been into the wall as there is Rocket, and he might not be able to continue. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's definitely not moving. As you can see that TJ and Pedro have a huge gap over everyone else, as Hepidi is now with a gaggle of cars fighting for P9, 10, 11, and so on. There's alongside Hepidi, there's Master, Ornifus, Ricardo, and Pekka Koivunen. As we are watching now, for battling with Gabriel, I believe they're going side by side into that final two turns. The Master Race Car driver is on the outside, which will be the inside of the final turn. They give each other plenty of space. And it looks like Lima has spun in front of them, so that's a possible position for everyone else. And so some drivers are already pitting.
Yeah, lots of cars pitting. 2 Fragmaster cars. William Lima also in the pit lane. You'll see the indicators pop up on your timing tower. Happy D in there as well. So lots of cars electing to just get the pit stop done at this early phase. But drivers who haven't made the stop so far are TJ and Pedro, who continue on as they were at the beginning of this race. Zesty in P3 as well, Doctor up to P4. Good start for the Road Appraiser drivers. And Roger, as you said, dropping a couple of places, but still in it in P5 as they head towards Boothie for the second time of asking in this race. Whoa, 3 cars really on top of each other through the chicane. At the back there was Master. Now it's Ricardo going for a move on the outside now of Onifus. Ricardo driving that pink and green livery. Onifus driving the traditional Fragmaster's blue, red and black livery. And Ricardo is holding on, but no, Onifus able to hold it around the outside. That's a great bit of driving from both of those guys. Still side by side, they'll be into that corner, but they will go single file. They won't be going around here side by side. As Hachiroku makes a move on El Nano, and gets a 4-wheel slide on, and that was Nando Lonzo having to take evasive action to get round, and does so. And Master gets through on Ricardo as well. Ricardo going backwards a little bit.
Yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic battle, as we are now watching Hivad, who was spun again and is now overtaken by Master Race Cars Hepidi, who is coincidentally also the first driver who has pitted. So out of those who have done the mandatory pit stop, he's the provisional leader.
Hachiroku has hard spun into the wall. Unusual place to lose the car. That you're not really going that fast there, but just got a tack slapper, couldn't control it, and hits the wall. Michael, carry on.
And his tires are after that spin, his tires are pretty hot, so I am sure he will come into the pit lane and probably change them, as well as repair some damages he has on the right rear of his car. as we're now switching to Pedro going side by side with TJ.
Yeah, he
These
left
two
it
are,
off.
they already have 1.5 second advantage over Zesty, who just can't keep up with these two. Meanwhile, Hachiroku is into the pit lane, as I predicted. Let's see if Zesty is able to keep the somewhat safe distance from these two, as they might have some advantage giving each other a slipstream. And Terjichan seems to have stabilized his place in P5 provisionally after starting in third place. So far, he seems to be able to keep up with Road to Presa Doctor, which is good to see for him. And Pedro is now in the slipstream of TJ, but we don't expect him to attack his teammate, as it will be a very insensible decision.
Yeah, we watch from the high camera. You can see the two leaders really pushing each other in this race. They're not driving for the same teams in the teams championship. So, really, Pedro can and probably should, if he wants to, overtake. It's not really his worry. Obviously, he wants his overall team to do well, but he has another fight to kind of deal with here. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes. So far, everything seems to be going pretty alright, with just dropping about 1/10 since the last time we talked about this. And looks like in the background HPD had spun, so that's not the greatest event happening for him after he has done his mandatory pit stop.
Yeah.
He has dropped to P45.
Yeah, that's a big shame, as Sufor is side by side with Onifus going into the final corner. And Sufor and Onifus run wide. Roger Chen also wide ahead of them. But it's currently Sufor in 7th. And Onifus up to 6th. But at the front of the race, it got close again between Pedro and TJ. Pedro didn't feel as though he had an opportunity to go for it. Whether he's lifting off intentionally or... Well, I guess either way, he's going to be getting frustrated. Destiny will be closing up soon, as we've got Finn trying to make a move on AK Destroyer for Sonoris, and Finn UK has got an almighty bend in that rear wing. Have you seen that, Michael? Look at the state of that rear wing on Finn UK's car.
Yeah, there must be some terrible crashes. These two are now catching up to another car, which is like a moving obstacle. Will they go 3 wide?
Oh, they go 2 wide. Oh, there's contact.
No,
El Nano hard into the wall.
Crash.
Finn UK adds to the damage. And we mentioned it in the pre-show. You don't go through there side by side, or if you do, that's what happens. El Nano hard into the wall. Finn UK adding to the damage, and AK Destroyer completely avoided any contact with anybody and sneaks back through up to P11. Sufor got back through on Onifus. They're going side by side into that corner. Surely not. Onifus! Oh, they managed to go through it, and Onifus has a nose ahead again.
It was a very close call, but they managed to stay out of trouble, and Onifus should be able to keep ahead for the following turns, where you also don't want to go side by side, but as you can see, anything is possible in this series. But looks like Sephora is now keeping the distance, trying to catch the rat. And these two are fighting for P6, and he goes wide through that turn, and he will be alongside Nando Alonso, I believe.
That's Master. Yeah. Master's got through.
No, it's Master, side by side, and it's Ricardo from Road to Presa right behind them, definitely waiting for his opportunity to take the advantage of the slipstream of both of these drivers. So let's see if he plays the clever game and takes both of these birds with one stone. It's a perfect opportunity. Let's see if he makes a move stick.
Yeah, this is Sufor that is going through, and Sufor leaves in the room. Looks over as well just to say hello. And Ricardo's through. Sufor loses 2 places on that lap. Oh, and Ricardo's going to get through Master as well. So two places in one straight for Ricardo. Great move.
Yeah, very opportunistic and very well executed, and I'm sure he will be able to pull away. as we are now switching to El Nano, who is doing his mandatory pit stop with some pit work as well, which is not mandatory, but there definitely is some damage to some drivers.
Yeah, Finn had to repair if he wanted to continue with the race. Too much damage to the left-hand side of that car after the contact with the support pit lane on the oval, as Pedro has dropped back ever so slightly from TJ. TJ's got a 0.6 of a second gap with the fastest lap now. And Sufa and Master back close together, Michael here. Master with a slipstream going on the outside into Spoon.
Yeah, almost side by side, but Master seems to stay ahead for this part of Spoon. Do they go side by side? No, they won't. It looks like he will stay. No, they're about to go side by side. No, sorry, that's Suffer actually. And he goes over the glass, and will he keep it straight? He will lose a ton of speed, and is now behind Pekka Koivunen, and I'm sure another Fragmaster driver who is just
Rex.
passing him now. Yeah, it's Rex into the top 10 finally.
Yeah, it took him long enough.
Terrible qualifying.
Yeah, he did a 2:24 in qualifying, 10 seconds off the pole time. So Rex has had it all to do, and he's up to P10 already, so that's fair enough. Good recovery, but again, will not be happy with his qualifying performance. Really has hurt him in this fight with Roda Preza. Monifus, remember, teammates with Rex. They need to score points to keep that gap that they have. It's just not working.
Yeah, it looks like a difficult evening for them, as in P11 there's a fight in the background. And you can see ahead of Master there's Rex going alongside Pekka Koivunen, I believe. He's on the outside, which will be the inside of the next small turn, but Pekka is in favorable position and keeps the position for now. Right now we are approaching the bottleneck chicane, as I would say, where definitely Rex shouldn't want to go side by side. Let's see if he does the sensible decision. Yeah, he sticks it behind and should be able to take advantage of the slipstream through this straight on the oval. He does so, he pulls alongside. He is on the outside of that oval turn, so a little more distance to cover into the Spoon curve. But he will be on the inside there, so that should be his advantage. Let's see if he transfers that into the overtake. So far, it looks like Pekka Koivunen actually has the upper end with more speed through that turn and seems to be able to keep that position for the time being. As we are approaching that challenging turn with very high inside curb. And under the bridge we go, with Suffer in P8 just checking his mirrors, watching these two fighting very hard. And now it looks like that was a pretty easy overtake actually for Rex, as Pekka Koivunen maybe made some mistake because he lost a lot of speed to the Fragmaster driver. So that's P9 for Rex for the time being.
Yeah, another place on his charge towards the front. Remember, there is a second race. Currently in the hot seat is Hayden, P15 there. If he finishes there, which is unlikely given the amount of pit stops that need to happen, he would have pole position for race 2 as TJ exits the final corner with a 9/10 of a second lead over his teammate Pedro. Zesty, meanwhile, is a second and a half back from Pedro, 2.5 seconds off the lead, as we head on to lap number 7 on race 1 here at Kyoto Grand Prix long reversed.
Yes, so far it looks like Roto Preza has it covered, at least for the first 2 places, and their teammate Doctor in P4 is not that far away from Zesty, so in certain circumstances it might be a full Roto Preza podium, so let's see how this evolves.
Pedro steals back the fastest lap on that previous time round, as well as actually, who's that? That's El Nano going off the track, and that's going to allow Finn UK in his battle with El Nano to get back through up to P23. Pedro continues to turn the screws to TJ, not letting him get away. The gap went up to almost a second at the end of the previous lap, but it's back down again.
Yeah, but meanwhile the gap to Zesty is growing ever so slightly, and it's now over 2.5 seconds between the TJ, the leader of the race, and Zesty. So he seems to be missing some pace tonight for the overall victory.
Yeah, these are sprint races, so there's not really much in the way of any kind of fuel strategy that's going to come into play here. It is kind of a straight shoot for the line. Nobody's really going to be planning any work in their pit stops necessarily, as we're watching Highwatt and who's that he's battling with? That is Happy D. Happy D in the front, in the white and black machine, just going through your shot now. And Highwatt for Sonoris chasing down into that corner. These two are pretty much the closest on the track at the moment, it would seem. As TJ takes back the fastest lap.
So, meanwhile, there goes Camaleon going side by side with Nando Alonso, I believe. With Camaleon being on the outside and having to yield the position for the other driver. But he might be able... No, actually not. He's losing a lot of time through the turn, and he's definitely out of the slipstreaming range. So that's P16 for Camaleon as for now. Ahead of him, there's actually a battle with Nando Alonso chasing closely Hayden for P14, but he tries some move into the first-ish turn. Will he go for the dive? No, he's actually careful through there. And in front of them, there's also another driver, which should be Kirk 87, so this is a three-way fight for P13. And as they will go now through that bottleneck chicane, we don't expect any side-by-side action for the next few seconds. Pretty clean line by all these three drivers, and the distances between them are big enough for them to not be able to catch up while the slipstreaming, so the order will stay as is for a few turns at least. And should the race end like this, it would be Nando Alonso on the pole position of race number 2, as the guy in P15 will be able to start from pole position. But it looks like it doesn't matter to Nando Alonso, as he's very eager to try to take that P14. And he goes alongside, he's on the inside, and he snatches that position. Actually, P13. Oh, sorry, I'm mistaken.
Yeah, it's all right. It was Hayden getting the move done on Kirko 87 there. The new camera's playing havoc a little bit. But there we go. As Kirku and Nando Alonso got positions again. And TJ sets another fastest lap. 1.1 seconds now, the gap between first and second. As Sufor goes into the pit lane. Takes the third pit box and moves off again. Looked pretty quick. But where will he rejoin? Where are the drivers who have already made their pit stops? It's Nando Alonso, the leading car. He's just coming out of that kink after the final chicane. So Sufor should be well out in the lead of everyone who's already made a pit stop. So there's the benchmark, folks. Sufor leads the way in the pit stop battle.
Yeah, no, he's now in a pretty strong position for the rest of the race, as everyone else ahead of him has to stop in the race and follow behind him. And we are halfway through the first race, so still about 8 laps to go. So plenty of opportunities to make the mandatory pits to work. As we are now following Payson in a battle with Coops, I believe. And they're closely followed by Spider-Man. Coops made some mistake, so these two will be able to get through. And let's see if Spider-Man is. Sorry, HVR.
Yeah, same livery.
Same livery. Yeah.
Spider-Man's here, already down into turn 1. But you're right, same livery. Oh, who's that? Hayden off after making 2 great moves. Throws it off at the exit of Spoon. Also gets passed there by Chameleon for Sim Racing Polska. So Chameleon up a place there through an unforced error by the looks of it from Hayden. Hayden has made a big climb through the grid, Michael.
Absolutely, and I see that he has some damage from the off-track activity, and his rear tires especially are very hot, so he almost lost it now in another turn, so he definitely has to slow down and cool the tires a bit or change them in the pit stop. As he's now really struggling for the grip, and he's closely being chased by Happy D, who is not very eager for waiting and is already alongside and already ahead. And let's see if he's able to keep it that way. I think he will be, because Hayden has very little grip and should be very much of a danger to Happy D.
Yeah, Happy D should have that covered quite nicely, and Hayden will disappear as a small speck in Happy D's rearview mirror. Not really a lot you can do if you follow closely. Yeah, and Hayden goes into the pit lane. That'll be a tyre change at the very least, I think. Let's see if it's a longer stop. Which pit box is he going to go in and choose? One of the middle ones, perhaps? Nope, still going. Nope, doesn't change tyres. Just a very trivial, simple pit stop there for Hayden, and he's back on his way with those hot tyres.
Absolutely, and returns to the track in P18, which should be P19 as he rejoins and almost collects Hachiroku, who had the speed advantage and managed to bypass him before he got up to the speed. And these two could be in the fight with each other for the rest of this race, as I believe both have done their pit stop. But the gap in between them is already pretty big, so Hayden might not be able to catch up to Kurku by slipstreaming. Yeah, he's definitely not gaining through there, so I think Hachiroku has it covered. As Dusty in the meantime is almost 3 seconds away from TJ, so he's slowly losing here and there.
Well, he had the fastest lap. He's got the purple badge, so he's doing something right, but will he lose it on this time around? Nope, he keeps it. Oh no, Pedro does take it away. Pedro with the new fastest lap, and only a second off TJ at the moment, but the pace of the top 3 is absolutely colossal. There's a 5-second gap back to Doctor, who's coming under pressure from Roger Chen. This battle for P4 is very much alive. You've got Onifus there as well now as 2, and well, these 3 are going to become very, very close to one another very, very quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think Doctor will be under a lot of pressure in the following laps. Serge Chen seems to have made up his mind about his lack of pace, and he should be able to snatch that P4 for the race ends in 6 laps. But at this point he's not close enough for slipstreaming, although he's slowly gaining, but it might be down to the aerodynamic settings of the car. He's still not close enough for attacking to the spoon curve, and he's now in a dirty air, but he doesn't seem to be affected very much.
I love watching Roger Chen drive.
Yeah.
It's so different every single time. You don't know what he's going to do. He's unpredictable, but brave in that current... well, in his current mindset, he's being quite brave, and it's paying off. He's managed to get in the slipstream, and he's going to go for the move on Doctor into the sweepers, and... well, he's managed to do it, so fair play. Very, very committed. Nice work.
Yeah, very well done. It was interesting to see that he took a completely different line through that spoon curve, allowed him to pretty much bypass most of the dirty air from the car ahead. So that's how we gained a lot of momentum there, and very well played. Right now, Doctor will be under pressure from Onifus, who's right behind him, and I think he saw with how much of ease Roger can get over Doctor, so he might be interested in taking that place as well.
Onifus needs a great exit from here. He needs the slipstream on Doctor in order to catch back up to Roger, and Doctor's gone wide. This is exactly what Onifus needed. Onifus also slightly compromised. I think he might have been put off slightly by that, and he didn't have enough of a slipstream. Oh no, Doctor goes into the pit lane, and Onifus is allowed to continue chasing Roger Chen. Oh, it's all going on.
Yeah, and a very sensible decision from Doctor to pit on this lap, as he already had a speed disadvantage on that straight. So by pitting, he pretty much nullified that disadvantage he had.
Could be relatively close with Sufor here. No, in fact, it won't be. Doctor is out of the pit lane and has clear air already.
Yeah, it's in P9 and should be the leader of
Yep.
those who have pitted, I believe. So, yeah. And his difference to the leader is now, we don't know yet. We have to wait for the updated time on the next split. It will be interesting to watch that delta to the leaders to see where they will come out after their pit stop.
Yeah, but there is the lead three in your camera shot there. TJ for Road Appraiser, Pedro for Road Appraiser, and Zesty for Sidus. Leading the way at the front of race number 1 as the laps tick down. 4 to go after this one. As Jay and Hayden are also scrapping into the first chicane. That is El Nano recovering somewhat behind in P21 currently.
Jay is right in the middle of this sandwich, and let's see if he's either going up by bypassing Hayden or goes back by being passed by El Nano. It looks like the first mentioned is the more realistic option, as he's pulling alongside and he's already ahead of Hayden. He probably gave that position away in order to gain some early slipstream, and he's alongside now to the inside of the next turn, which is the right-hander, the long one. He's getting a little wide, but manages to avoid any collision, and this allows Solnano to catch up to these two. And let's see if they manage to stay side by side through this very difficult turn. That was very close call.
That was. I'm not sure El Nano really knew what he was getting into there. As again, Jay swerving a little bit in front of him there. El Nano trying to go around the outside, and he's going to make it stick. Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah, almost got collected by Jay, but luckily he got through enough to avoid that. And now should be able to catch up to Hayden and made the pass.
Was he lucky or was it perfectly judged? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I think.
Yeah, it was very close. I would say there was a little bit of luck involved here.
Bravery, luck, skill, whatever. Bit of everything. Roger Chen has opened up a small-ish gap over Onifus. Not comfortable by any means. Onifus is still there, and Roger Chen's got a void of 5 seconds ahead of him to Zesty. So Roger Chen's focus, well, he's going to be trying to focus ahead. But it's going to be hard with the Fragmaster car looming large in his mirrors.
Meanwhile, in the background, Happy D is getting very close to Nando Alonso for P12, so that's some duel that might get interesting in few more turns. As Happy D is now suffering from the dirty air, so he has some time to catch up to Nando Alonso, who has the P12 provisionally, and I'm not sure if Nando Alonso has pitted yet or not, but he's definitely vulnerable to Happy D, who's gaining. He already goes defensive, so Happy D might have to lift a little bit to avoid getting too close too soon. Yeah, and another lift from Happy D, so he's definitely waiting for some more interesting opportunity on the longer straight, which now allows Alonso to create a small gap, but I'm sure that this will not stop PD from getting ahead. Let's see how well it goes, this and the next straight. As Onano is now in a battle side by side with, I'm not sure what that car is. It's hidden, yeah, there's side by side.
There's
Contact! But they survived somehow. I don't understand that.
We've just lost Ricardo, who was having a really nice scrap. I think he went in the pit lane. I think he might have got it wrong, and he's out of the race. So that's not good for the second Road Appraiser team's chances in this first race. A pretty secure top 10 on the cards for Ricardo there, but it didn't go well as we've got Doctor scrapping with Onifus now on the oval. This is for P7. Side by side. And we'll be expecting pit stops from our top drivers any minute now. Most of them will leave it until the end of lap 15 to come in. As Onifus again having to get out of the power through Spoon and find another opportunity to get through Doctor. Is it going to be into turn 9? Surely not. No, he'll use the slipstream out of here. Try to get him into the wiggles, but yeah, Doctor's wise to it. He's already going defensive. Great scrapping. Oh, as I say that, all goes wrong. And Onifus is off into the wall. So not leaving each other nearly enough room there, Michael. And that allows Suffle to get back through. So contact between Doctor and Onifus, that's what happens when the team's championship gets a little bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, that was pretty much a disaster waiting to happen, and Onifus was the one who would the bitter end of that. As Nando Alonso has spun in the background in P12, so yeah, there's some damage to his rear wing, but it might be only cosmetic.
Rex pits.
Yeah.
Let's see where he comes out.
In the pit lane.
Not really a factor in this race after his qualifying session, but it's really important to see where he comes out because he needs to. Well, he's going to be in the top 15, but how far down is he going to be? That will determine where he starts for the next race. It looks like currently P7, just behind Doctor, and importantly ahead of Onifus now. After Onifus's incident with Doctor before, that has changed the order then of the top two Fragmaster's cars in this race. And TJ with a 1.4 second lead will be in the pits at the end of this lap. So too will Pedro. So 3 will Zesty. Roger Chen, Pekka Koivunen. Those 5 will all be in the pits. Serve their mandatory pit stop. Kirku in just now. Ricardo hit a sausage curb in turn 1 at a funny angle, and that's what caused him to end his race. He actually rolled it. So, unfortunate way to end, given that he was going to score good points for RP2 in this race. But let's watch our race leaders enter the pit lane and see what happens here. This is where a race can come completely undone for any one of these drivers. Rex is 31 seconds back, so TJ, Pedro, Zesty, and Roger are safe. Don't know whether Pekka Koivunen will be. Almost certainly not. Let's see as they all head for the lane. Here we go then. Zesty very late on the brakes, much later than Pedro there. As Roger Chen also goes into pits in the background there. Zesty had a good stop. He's much closer, Michael, to Pedro than he was before he came in.
Yeah, he was extremely brave on the tin and almost got the drive to penalty, but he...
it's gone wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, it just happens like that. But he might be able to still catch up the second car of Preza Pedro. But we are on the final lap, so not too many opportunities to make the impression. As when I'm watching TJ having the lead with several seconds gap over Pedro, and there's some guy lap down sliding his car. And it looks like Zesty will have to end up in P3, so it definitely won't be a triple Vader Preza podium with Ricardo dropping and Doctor being now currently in P5.
Yeah, that would have been really cool, actually. They had a very good opportunity to get that podium lockout, but not to be on this occasion. Never say never, there's still another race to go. Ricardo probably won't be a factor, as he'll start way down the order, at least 29th place probably at this point. But Doctor, TJ and Pedro still have a chance of getting that podium lockout in race 2. Slim chance, however. But TJ has done everything right in this race. He's held off his teammate, and don't discount Pedro. He's done a fantastic job to pressure his much more experienced teammate. And to be within 2.5 seconds of him at the end is mighty impressive. Keeping Zesty behind, no mean feat either. Zesty's super talented in the Formula cars and for speed. But here comes TJ then Michael to the line.
Absolutely. So let's see if TJ manages to get through that final turn well without hitting too much grass. Yeah, he's still pushing very hard, but stays on the grey stuff. And is about to win race number 1 of this Fragmaster Fox Friday evening. Crosses the start finish line now and wins with his teammate Pedro being close in second, and third place, final podium step for Cyrus Zesty. Fourth is Roger Chen, followed by Road to Praise Doctor, Fragmaster Rex. In 7 it's Suffer with the fastest lap, I believe. It looks like Suffer has the fastest lap, if I'm not mistaken. 8 is Onifus, 9 is Pekka Kuivonen, and let's see who will be in P10. It looks like Happy D is 10th. Into P11 it's Racing Polska's Master, followed by who's that over the line? It looks like Nando Alonso. It is Nando Alonso in P12, 43 seconds behind the race winner. P13 for Pit Pulga. P14 will be. I see two. Oh yeah, no, there's correction. So it's 13 Patio, 14 Pit Pulga. Oh no, another correction. Okay. Yeah, there's some errors in the graphics, but anyway, it looks like it's Nando Alonso in P12, followed by Panteo, Destroyer, and El Nano is in P15, which does mean that he will be on the pole position of race number 2, because the top 15 is reversed for the grid of the next race coming in a few minutes. Then it's Hachiroku, Hayden, Jay, Gabri, and top 20 is ended up with Kirk 87. Then it's Hivat, Chameleon, Finuke, Penguin, and then it looks like last car over the start finish line. A few more cars actually to cross the finish line. It looks like Payson is P25, closely followed by Hermione, 2 minutes behind the race winner. And looks like Spider-Man is about to cross the finish line now. And he might be the last car on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there he is. So that's P27 for Spider-Man, and Pit Pulga, whose lap down is in P28. So that's 28 finishers in this race number 1. Congratulations to the Road to Preza team for first 2 places lockout.
Yeah, but TJ couldn't get all of the accolades in that one. Suffer out of nowhere gets the fastest lap. We knew he was fast, but proving it once again there with the fastest lap of a 2:14.69, faster by almost 0.3 of a second in the pole time that was set by TJ. So good effort from Safor there for doing that. But it's El Nano who will be on pole position for race number 2. AK Destroyer will be next to him. Then it'll be Pantheo and Nando Lonzo on row 2. Master and Happy D row 3. Koiven and Anonymous row 4. Safor and Rex row 5. Doctor and Roger Chen row 6. Desti and Pedro row 7. And TJ will be alongside Hachiroku on row... where would that be? Row 8. So there we go.
That was a very eventful race, and I'm still surprised by the fact that Safor is the one who took the fastest lap, which is something I definitely didn't expect at the start of this race.
Absolutely. I mean, he had some good slipstream opportunities on that final lap, and sometimes that's all you need. But yeah, good for him.
Yeah, it was a fantastic job, and I'm curious to see how the race number 2 will evolve in a few minutes' time, as we are now already into the phase of setting up the grid for race number 2. So it's a matter of time before we go racing again with another 16 laps race and top 15 reversed.
Yep, that'll be coming up in around about, I guess, 3 or 4 minutes' time, hopefully. So don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break. Come back for race 2. That top 15 reverse grid, which always causes so much drama. Worth watching, worth sticking around for. Thanks for joining us here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to coverage of round 40 of Fragmaster's Fox Friday in Live for Speed on Sim Broadcast. I'm Peter Butcher, Michael Málek alongside me. Michael, that was an exciting first race, but it's only about to be turned up to 11.
Absolutely, it was a very eventful race with a fantastic job from the Road to Presa team as they locked the first and second place. Almost a three-way podium for them, but things didn't go their way in the last laps. But anyway, we are on a minute or two away from race number 2, which is also 16 laps, and we have top 15 rivers, so we can expect some mayhem in the opening laps. As the lucky guy who finished 15 in the previous race is El Nano, so therefore he starts in the pole position, followed by Destroyer, Pantio, Nando Lonzo, Master Happy D, Pekka Koivunen, Onefos Sefor, Rex, Doctor, Roger Chen, Zesty, Pedro, and the winner of the previous race, TJ, will start from P15. So it will be a very difficult task for him to climb from P15 all the way to the race lead. And I think we can expect many drivers to pit at the end of first lap to avoid some traffic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the qualifying results that we just saw there. The race results show a different picture. They show that the gap between P1 and P15 was 1 minute and 2 seconds. So it's a tall order, but let's see, can TJ climb the order and get back on top of the podium?
And there we are again with El Nano on the pole position with Destroyer alongside him in the front row. We are again waiting for the lights to go red and then to be extinguished and start the race here at Kyoto Grand Prix along reversed with somewhat modified oval chicane. The lights are on and we are going green here in Fragmaster Fox Friday, and El Nano had a good start, a fantastic start from Nando Lonzo, who is already the P3, and also Master had a great start, unlike Panteo, who had a terrible start. It's Nando Lonzo already into P2 with Happy D and Master going side by side in the background. And there's somebody spun into the. Oh no!
Panteo hit Pekka into Happy D, and it's just a concertina effect of absolute chaos down the order. Camera doesn't know where to point itself. We've got cars reversing off of the track out of the first apex, and well, if you've been in Fox Friday before, you'll know that there are no restarts. There don't tend to be any restarts unless something affects the start from a technical point of view, and that was absolutely shocking as a start for a very experienced field of drivers, and they're still trying to work themselves out. Meanwhile, Nando Alonso and El Nano still leading the way. Oh, they have restarted the race. That's unusual. We don't normally see that in
very
Fox
surprising.
Friday. Yeah, that's unusual. Yeah. Okay, that does not normally happen, ladies and gents. We normally just run with it, but the drivers have been given a second chance, and El Nano's going to be kicking himself. He would have been very pleased with his performance. Michael, take it away.
Yeah, so race number 2, take number 2, and we are going away again. And it looks like Panteo had a fantastic start this time. Was followed by Nando Alonso, so it was a terrible start for Destroyer. And El Nano is now under pressure from all the guys who had better start, so that's definitely not the start he wanted. As Panteo is alongside Nando Alonso, and let's see if everyone goes through safely. Somebody in the background is into the grass, but otherwise everyone keeps it straight as I said that somebody went sideways. But it looks like El Nano is keeping the lead as a huge gaggle of cars entering that area of single file chicane, so let's hope that everyone gets through safely. Difficult to judge from this point of view, but El Nano is definitely keeping the lead, and at least by judging by watching the minimap, looks like everyone got through safely with Hermane disconnected from the server. El Nano already has half a second advantage over Pantio, so that's a fantastic start from El Nano as well. Road to Presa Doctor is now under pressure of actually putting pressure on the car ahead. There's a lot of cars going side by side. There's some contact ahead of them and also behind him, as it's difficult to judge who's battling who at this point with this gaggle of 4 cars.
Yeah, it's Roger Chen at the back. So Roger Chen is going to have a massive advantage here. Yeah, he's already got past Oni first, but TJ's coming through out of absolutely nowhere. Roger Chen comes past and decides that he wants to just lead this group now. As we ride on board with TJ, El Nano leads, Pantheo P2, Nando Alonso, Happy D, Master, Sufor. Oh, TJ's going around the outside of Master, and now that's going to be the inside of Doctor as well. Pedro's just been passed, so Zesty's coming through as well. But these guys are wasting no time, Michael, in climbing up the order here.
Absolutely, TJ has started in.
Doctor, no! He's completely wiped out. Who was that? Was it Master?
Yeah,
Pedro.
Yeah, and Zesty as well. So he wiped out everyone apart from TJ.
Zesty managed to get through. So Zesty got through unscathed.
My bad.
Mostly. Yeah, just behind. But what on earth happened there?
Yeah, TJ was very lucky as he got hit.
Super lucky.
Managed to keep it in the right direction and with full speed. So it was very close. As we are now watching Safor in P6 battling with Nando Alonso, I believe.
Master.
It's Master actually.
Yeah.
Going side by side. And let's see who ends up in better position through that first chicane. And it looks like Sufer is ahead for the time being.
Lots of drivers pitting, Michael. We've got Onifus, Ricardo, Chameleon, Alpayson, Doctor, and Roger Chen in the pit lane currently. All of those guys taking the first opportunity to come down the pit lane. And El Nano opens up the gap to 1.2 seconds over Pantheo. Fantastic start yet again. Doubly unlucky, really, from Nano for having to do that start again.
We just lost Master, who spectated to avoid crashing everyone out in the chicane coming into the oval. As Rex is side by side with Master Race Cars Gabri, I believe. And then the side by side battle behind them, so it's hard to say who we should pay attention.
As always happens at the beginning of these.
Very close. So much action.
Side-by-side battles everywhere, but let's focus on one of them. Rex on the inside at that corner, but still right next to him was Gabri. And Gabri takes back over the lead. So Rex having quite the challenge to get past Gabri. He's going to try again here. Moves to the inside, which will become the outside, which will cost more time. And now Hiwatt's on the scene too.
Yeah, this is a fantastic battle. Let's see how well it goes for Gabri leading this train. As Happy D is now close to being able to attack Fragmaster Pantheo in P2.
Yeah, he's already side by side.
Yes.
Pantheo still on the inside. Happy D trying to go around the outside, and that's a great move. Cuts in. That will give Pantheo the dirty air, and will have no chance of closing that gap back up. So Sufor did the same thing on Nando, who's gone wide, and somehow in the mix TJ and Zesty have got through Nando as well, although Zesty goes to the pit lane. Interesting. Why so early? What do you think he's done that?
I'm confident that he's doing so to avoid most of the traffic he'd be stuck in for the first few laps.
I think he might come out in some traffic here. There's a whole host of cars that are going to come through. Zesty's going to be in traffic chaos.
This has to pass two cars, and then there's about 10 seconds gap next to the group of drivers who have not pitted. So I think it's pretty much a win for Zesty at this point. Apparently Ricardo has a drive-through penalty, and he already managed to complete that. So that's a race over for him, essentially.
Pretty much. Sufor and Pantheo battling hard here. Sufor trying to get through without losing too much time, but it's going to be TJ who drew up very, very quickly to the back of Sufor. I thought it was going to make contact. Very, very hard to kind of back out of something through Spoon once you're already up to top speed. But these three now really, really close together, and this is where Zesty needs to press home his advantage while TJ is stuck behind two fighting cars.
Yeah, meanwhile we have lost Ricardo, who was spectated from the race, and Sufor has now advanced into P3, and Pantheo is almost in a collision with TJ, who doesn't have much room to make the pass. Yeah, the door was closed, so he has to wait again.
The door was never open, but yeah, the gap firmly shut in TJ's face. You can see the gap's already opened up to Sufor, so TJ is definitely losing time in this scenario. Zesty's come out in not the cleanest of air. He's got 2 cars to get through. TJ's navigating Pantheon now, but definitely lost time there.
Maybe the door was not open, but there's some medieval technique that allows you to open any door if you come in fast enough.
Yes, that is true. At the potential cost of ruining your own race, however, it's not gone that way. TJ up to P4 and setting his sights onto the back of Sufor once again. Zesty is going to get through the traffic here. This is Kirku who he's overtaking. And who is next? That is Jay. And Jay, as we saw in the previous race, was not afraid of getting his elbows out. And Kirku has a slipstream. So Zesty's day might go from bad to worse again. Let's see. No, Kirku's backed out of it, so he's fine.
Yeah, very sensible decision from Kirku to stay behind, and let's see how long it will take Zesty to get through Jay's territory, as they are now approaching the single file chicane into the oval. Will Zesty be brave enough to go side by side? Yeah, I think he's waiting for a better drafting opportunity after the chicane.
This is perfectly judged. Yeah. Oh, but dirty air coming through the chicane means that it's going to be a little bit of a slow overtake. He's on the outside into the main oval section as we get a good view down to the apron with these two going side by side. Zesty will have the inside of the spoon. All there you can see Jay looking over. Oh, it gets so close when they get into the apex, but Zesty's snuck through, and unless Jay feels brave into that corner, turn 9, that will be that.
Yeah, and now Zesty has almost 10 seconds gap in front of him, so there's plenty of interact to run into. As he's now in P12 and the fastest of the pitted drivers, I believe. And it was interesting to see that after we have restarted the race, then a lot of drivers have asked for another restart as soon as something went wrong. So it's definitely a kind of warms opening when you restart the race, while you otherwise never do it. So it's definitely an interesting outcome of that. As we are now watching Alnano being slowly coked up by Happy D from Master Race Car, but these two are on a pretty similar speed, and it's still 1.2 seconds between Happy D and the leader Alnano.
Pantheo's got a lot of damage on the rear of that car now. He's gone wide as well and has allowed a few cars to overtake, now down to P11. And while we were talking, TJ got the fastest lap and has kind of slotted into his rhythm now. Zesty is 20 seconds off the leader with a pit stop already done. TJ has to get through this traffic quickly in order to start taking time out of Zesty's advantage that he has. He's got a decent slipstream on the back of Sufor now, but is it enough? Is it enough to get through at Spoon? I don't think so, not quite. So he's going to have to try and use the remainder of the lap to get through somewhere. But all the while that TJ is held up behind these cars, Zesty holds the advantage in this race, down in P11 currently with the pit stop done.
Yeah, and judging by the in-game chat, it looks like Happy D is having issues with his pedals. He's losing so much speed, and he's now already under pressure from Sufor and TJ as we speak.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that's mechanical issues for him on his driving.
Got to be careful. He's got to be careful. If he's got a mechanical issue, exactly. Yeah. If he's got a mechanical issue, then he shouldn't be pulling back in front of the other two like that. So clearly, he thinks he can manage it. Goes defensive. TJ definitely being held up at this point. El Nano just at the top of shot there, with a 2-second advantage in this race, and that's your top 4 on the camera.
Yeah, El Nano is in a pretty good spot after starting from pole position and having everyone else holding each other away from him. And it looks like Happy D has managed to reset his controller and he's now back into the full speed. So he has only lost about a second from El Nano, and he's now able to keep the pace away from Suffer and TJ for the time being. But look like how close they are.
Yeah, really great battling between these guys. Happy D just about managed to hold on, and will get another chance to fight in this race. Little bit of a rear slide as he came out of the hairpin, but you can see that Suffer wasn't able to capitalise. And well, actually, Suffer has problems of his own because we've got TJ closing up just as they head through the Booths chicane, and that is going to be a monster of a tow. Potentially a double tow here as well, Michael. Suffer goes defensive.
Happy is far enough, but Suffer is definitely under pressure from TJ and will probably lose a position because now TJ will be on the inside of the next long right-handed turn. Unless Suffer manages to keep the higher speed around the outside of that turn, there's the side-by-side, still no contact, and thanks to a bigger radius through that turn, he manages to even keep some little speed advantage, still side-by-side through there, and TJ has to back off and wait for another opportunity, which is right here. Suffer goes defensive.
Oh wow! I mean, Suffer's moving. He's quite agile on the steering wheel. Gets super close, but TJ manages to sneak it through, just about up to P3. Suffer, great defensive driving. Yet again, proving he's got what it takes. Just needs that little bit more experience to live for speed, and we're going to see him fighting for podiums more and more often, I think. But yeah, brilliant show from these guys. And TJ is through for now and chases down Happy D for P2 now.
Yeah, and both of these are chasing down El Nano. The difference has now dropped from 2-something seconds down to 1.8 seconds, so Happy D is definitely catching to the leader, but it will take several laps to get there. And in the meantime, I think he will be able to catch up to Happy D, as Happy D now goes over the grass, but so does TJ, so there's no speed difference between these two. And is Suffer close enough? I don't think he is.
Well, he's in the slipstream, but is there enough road? No, I think you're right. I don't think there's time for him to get through on this lap. Close, but no cigar. As Happy D crests the hill and is looking at a 1.4 second gap now to El Nano. So the gap is closing down. El Nano's comfortable advantage is slipping away. And also Zesty, 18 seconds now after lead. Zesty has been silently creeping up to the front of this race, and I don't know if TJ has been doing the same thing quick enough. He's still 2 cars off the lead, and well, we're already on lap 7 of 16 in race 2. Not sure if there's time left really.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true, but let's not forget that Zesty has now coked up to the traffic, which he didn't have in front of him for past 6 laps or so. So that's something that will slow him down as well. So as long as TJ is not wasting his time trying to battle other cars, he might be able to get some pace over Zesty.
Well, anyway, let's reset the order. We have had quite a lot of dropouts from this race. We're down to just 19 cars from, well over 30 cars that started. So a lot of drama normally unfolds during race 2, obviously the feature race. That today is absolutely no different. But El Nano leads with just under a second advantage over Master Race Car's Happy D. Then it's Road Appraiser TJ in third, clawing his way through the grid, up from P15 at the start to currently be running in third place, with Suffer, the dark horse of late, holding on to P4, and probably, if he keeps this pace up, should be in contention for an overall podium in this race. Gabri, new signing for Master Race Car, switched from the Sonoris team, as far as I can remember, in P5, with Sim Racing Polska Hachiroku in P6. Fragmaster's Fin UK, P7, decent race for him so far. Let's see what he can manage after this one finishes. With Hayden, P8, and Zesty, the leader in the race of the drivers who have already made a pit stop. Let's get those up on the timing tower for you. Hachiroku's out on the grass on the outside. That's a big spin there for Hachiroku out of the final corner. So unlucky. and actually just decides that's it, retires. Doesn't want to continue with his race. So down to just 18 cars then in this session.
Yeah, and TJ is getting dangerously close to Happy D, who is also very close to Elnano, so we might see some great battles coming into the next lap or so, maybe even sooner. As TJ is now not close enough to Happy D, I would say at least he's not gaining enough, although now the slipstream is getting more effective. And TJ goes alongside Happy D on the inside of next turn, and let's see if he manages to put that position into his advantage. Looks like he's able to pull that, but Happy D seems to be pushing him instead, so yeah, I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but either way, they are both now catching to El Nano, who is only 3/10 away from these two. They are now going side by side with Happy D on the outside, which is not a favorable position for this kind of turn. And looks like Happy D had enough and slots into third place.
Yeah, TJ's made such a good run through Happy D that El Nano's lead has completely evaporated and has now disappeared down to 0.3 of a second. TJ, if he can get a good exit out of the next corner, should have the slipstream he needs to have gone from 15th to 1st in 8 laps. Let's see it happen. Here we go. It's a good exit for TJ. It's a good exit for Happy D and Sufor too. So El Nano could be at risk of losing out on a podium entirely here as TJ swings to the inside and crosses start finish in the lead and will be registered as a lap leader in race number 2 as well. TJ takes over the lead for Road Appraiser. Sufor trying to find a way back, but he's not managed it. He goes over the curb at a weird angle. That's going to compromise him for the first hairpin. Happy D is well poised now, Michael, for a move into Boothie.
Yeah, Happy D is very close, but also the Boothie chicane is getting even closer, and you don't want to go side by side there. So it's sensible to see Happy D keeping the distance and waiting for the opportunity. He's sliding a little bit, but he's now in the slipstream of Elnano and pulls alongside, and that will be on the inside of that long oval left-hander. So Happy D will have an easy job to get there, but it will allow Elnano to reuse his slipstream instead. But looks like he's happy to wait behind him, as he probably recognizes that fighting Happy D would cost both of them more time than just keeping going.
Well, teammates back together again, and this will be an important fight of which of these two finishes in the lead. Sufor obviously had a better race in race 1 than El Nano, and would surely like that to be the case again in race 2. But yeah, we're down to 18 cars. It's amazing. I'm actually quite surprised that we've lost that many cars from race 2. Normally, a track that drivers have quite a lot of experience at, we tend to see race 2 going not quite so as badly as this one in terms of the drop off, but that hasn't affected the race at the front. We've got 4 cars within 2 seconds, in fact 1.5 seconds of each other, which is absolutely fantastic. But in the meantime, Zesty has closed the gap to the lead of the race down to 17 seconds. He's already pitted, remember, so TJ has got to absolutely hammer it. He's got to do fastest lap after fastest lap for the next 7 laps if he stands any chance of getting the double win tonight.
Yeah, and we all know that TJ is definitely able to do that. So let's see how it goes for him. As Alano is into the pit lane, very brave on the brakes and almost gets drive through, but actually doesn't. He picks the stop in the middle of the pit line. No pit work is done, so he's got moving very quickly. And let's see where he ends up in relation to the drivers. Zesty is passing him right now.
Well, that's
a few more drivers will.
Yeah, that's telling. I mean, look how far ahead of Sufor he is. Zesty has the lead of this race at the moment. TJ has not done enough just yet to keep the lead after the pit stop. So he really, really, really does need to start turning the screws. Fastest laps will be needed in order to stretch the gap that's necessary to pass Zesty. There's Zesty on the screen, and there's El Nano. So just going side by side with Onifus through Boothie, losing actually another place there.
Yeah, Onifus just
what?
steamed by us. We were watching Destroyer having a hard fight with some Fragmaster driver. I'm not sure which
Finn UK.
one it is. Finn UK, yeah. They're just really pushing everything they have. Literally.
Yeah, arriving into the first hairpin side by side, touching wheels, nearly spinning round, and well, everyone's having a fun time out there today. It's been a difficult race for quite a lot of people, but thanks for sticking with us here on Sim Broadcasts for more frantic Fox Friday action in Need for Speed. As Michael said earlier, the longest running championship in LFS with more than 14 years of weekly championship action. Absolutely incredible feat. And you're watching TJ now with that 7/10 of a second lead, but the real important gap now is between first and fourth. The gap between TJ and Zesty for the win, as TJ still needs to make that pit stop, of course, and only has 5 laps left to do it.
Yeah, TJ needs to find about 1.5 up to 2 seconds over Zesty in the remaining laps to make sure that he ends ahead after he makes his mandatory pit stop. But so far their pace is pretty much identical, so it's Zesty's game now. And as long as he doesn't do any serious mistake, he should be able to win this race.
Yeah, this has been a brilliant afternoon of racing. TJ again sliding, and the gap as Zesty comes across the line confirms that the gap is pretty much unchanged. Zesty with that purple flag next to his name means that he is the fastest driver on the circuit currently, or at least holds the fastest lap of the race, as Hayden appears to be going backwards, still in a fight with El Nano.
He got bumped from Onifus, which forced him to go wide through that first chicane. So he's now under pressure. Very
doesn't lack confidence, does he, Hayden? He's really pushing the envelope through there. Cool stuff.
Yeah, Alano is ahead of him, and let's see if he manages to pull alongside. He should be able to do so. He picks the outside line, which is interesting to see, but it looks like he's not able to capitalize on the decision, so stays behind Alano after that long right-hander. In the meantime, in the in-game chat, Onifos is already congratulating to Zesty, so he must know something. As Alana goes defensive from Hayden, they are going side by side with Hayden on the outside, which is not a favorable place in this section of the track. Let's hope they don't touch each other. And yeah, Hayden pulls behind and lost some time to Alana, so this fight is resolved for the time being.
Yeah, and Zesty is not opening the gap that he needs. The gap's gone down by 0.02 of a second. It's nothing at all. That's going to make the finish very exciting indeed. Oh, I thought for a minute TJ might be going to the pits. That would have been weird. But no, he wants to keep track position for now. So let's see how the gap will change. TJ across the line.
In the pit lane, in the meantime, is Suffer, and he made 1.2 seconds stop, so the fastest possible. And he's about to get passed by Zesty now, and let's see if he manages to stay ahead of Onano and Onifus. It looks like he might be too, but it will be very close. Onifus gets by, Onano is a bit too far behind, so he's still in P5 behind Fragmaster Onifus for the time being.
Yeah, so Onifus gains a place as well. Good effort. That's not what I expected. El Nano's gone wide. That's going to allow... No, actually, nobody's near him, so that's fine. He just went through the gravel, just losing time. Nando Alonso 8 seconds behind. So closing, but something spectacular is going to have to happen to make that gap get any smaller. And all our focus remains at the front of this race now. Zesty, with that questionable early pit stop, seems to have worked out. TJ lost you could see how much time TJ was losing by fighting with other fast cars at the front. And right now, it looks like a genius stroke from Zesty to pit as early as he did.
Absolutely. In the last half a lap, Zesty lost two tenths to TJ, but still there's about 2 seconds in play that TJ must find in the next 4 laps or so. And I don't think he's able to get that unless Zesty makes some terrible mistake. And considering that Zesty is in pretty much clean air, there's nothing stopping him from taking the lead after TJ makes the pit stop. While the gap between Happy D and TJ is about 1.3 seconds, so Happy D has some great pace tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, Zesty would really, really like to have the race win, or a race win. He actually loses the fastest lap for the first time in a while. TJ's just snatched it going over the timing line. But Zesty, as I mentioned, driving a very, very nice race at the moment. Good strategy, good laps. Let's see if he can take back the fastest lap on his time across start finish. No, he can't. So TJ has picked up that fastest lap. That was a 14.92, so 2 minutes 14.92, which means, was that faster than his pole time? I'm trying to remember back to qualifying. Chris is just getting that data for us. My memory is shot apparently, but yeah, TJ out on his own at the front has matched his pole time. Sorry, no, it's 4 tenths faster, 400ths faster, sorry, than his pole time. 14.96 was his pole time. And yeah, 17.6 seconds now the gap to Zesty. You'll need a few more laps like that, at least, TJ, before you'll be safe. Unfortunately, Zesty is just a little bit too close. It's going to be too close to call. You lose a lot of time in the pit lane at Kyoto GP Long in Live for Speed.
Absolutely, but in the last 2 laps, Zesty lost a few tenths of a second to TJ, so TJ might be up to something, but the laps are ticking down, and in about 2 laps, TJ will be forced to make the pit stop, so there's not much room for him to make the gap. The gap is now up to 17.7, which is still not enough, but it's definitely showing that Zesty currently doesn't have the same pace as TJ. So we might have some interesting finish after all.
Yeah, we've not been paying too much attention to the gaps. We know it's going to be close, and it's been close with drivers who've been emerging from the pit lane behind Zesty. But just how will TJ play the pit stop? We know he has a very unique line through the pits. Zesty has gained 2 seconds on him since his pit stop, so advantage Zesty for sure. But how much of an advantage as TJ goes for a nice drift / slide into the first hairpin there? You could hear it more than you could see it, really. And then he's going to line the car up for Boothie. This kind of added section to make the chicane a little bit smoother in the Formula XR.
And Hayden is into the pit lane.
Yeah, he is. He's just emerging now, and he's going to be out round about Al Payson. In fact, I think Al is going to have the advantage. Yeah, he does. He's through. So Al up to P10. So a top 10 on the cards for Mr. Payson. As we watch the lap counter tick down, and we all watch in earnest to see what is going to happen. Who is going to win this? Is it going to be a double gold medal tonight for TJ, or is it going to be one apiece between Sidus and Roda Preza, with Zesty claiming victory in race 2? It's too close to call right now.
Absolutely, and TJ has to make that pit stop either at the end of this lap or the next lap, and so far it looks like Zesty has the better cards in hand, so let's see what decision TJ will do at the end of the lap.
He has to keep track position at this stage. He's stretching the gap. He doesn't want to risk coming out behind him, so he has to keep going.
Yeah,
He's got to dig deep and do one more lap. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If it was Zesty catching him, I'd have said pit earlier, but now TJ has the pace advantage and he has to keep track position if he wants any chance. Oh, so committed through the final chicane. So much angle and using a lot of the curbs as he goes on to the penultimate lap. He must pit on this lap for his pit stop to be legal, of course, but he's done another fastest lap, a 14.88. So slightly faster, and again that reverse entry, that bit of a slide into into the hairpin, just getting the rear rotated.
Just steals the fastest lap with 14.83, so that's a perfect response from him.
Yeah, he's thrown down the gauntlet. Brilliant stuff.
And TJ has to pit at the end of this lap, so he's out of the room to make the gap.
I love these reverse grid races. They just make everything so much more interesting. Obviously, you need that first race for everybody to get up to speed. Have the first race to set the grid for race 2. But then, if you survive the start of race 2, it's a game of chess from there. Winners from the first race hugely disadvantaged by starting in the mid-pack and having to work their way back through. But TJ got up to the lead relatively quickly, but not before Zesty went for his pit stop and came out in cleaner air, which may be the difference between TJ winning it and coming second in this race. Let's see what happens. We're going to see in about 30 seconds' time the outcome of this race.
So far TJ has a better split through the first half of this lap, but it probably won't make too much difference through that pit lane, as he's now one turn away from getting into the start-finish straight. He picks up some dust and grass on the right side, and he has to dive into the pit lane. Very, very careful on the brakes, actually. I would even say he could brake much later. But anyway, he's in the pit lane, and let's see where he ends up in relation to Zesty.
Yeah, Zesty just going through the kink. TJ is moving, but Zesty surely has the overspeed. Look, he's going over start-finish, and I don't think there's much that TJ can do. Oh, TJ's got to drive through. He's gone too fast in the pit lane. Why? He had the... Look at this. He's going to come out just ahead, and it's all over. TJ did not need to push that hard. He's given himself a drive-through penalty. He has track position. Zesty will win this race through overzealous exit from the pits for TJ. Unbelievable. Oh, look at this. Look at this. How close could this race have been? Stolen from us. But anyway, they're going to race it out to the finish. I don't think TJ will bother to serve that drive-through. He can't serve it anyway because it's the last lap. So they're just going to do this for bragging rights, essentially.
Absolutely.
Oh, he must have absolutely gunned it out of pit lane, Michael, to try and keep the lead. 30-second penalty that he's got. So he's going to be finishing in P7 once the timer has run out. So not a good second race for TJ. Good points then for the Fragmaster team. Onifus there in P4 will score good points. And Doctor's not even in this race. And neither's Rex. So just one finisher for Fragmaster and RP. But yeah, denied the true battle for the finish. But let's enjoy this for its merits, shall we? Zesty versus TJ, two titans of Fox Racing and LFS, going at it for 4 more corners.
It looks like Zesty has made that impression even without this penalty for TJ, and it only shows that he's a rightful winner of this particular race. As Leonard in the final sector, and TJ is not able to keep up with Zesty, and with that 30-second penalty, he will be dropped hugely down to almost P10, I believe. So that's a huge shot in the leg as they are approaching the final straight. So let's welcome them into the finish line. We are watching TJ almost collecting some grass again, but it's Zesty who will cross the finish line in the first place. And there he goes with TJ closely behind, but that's not his final position, as he now has to wait 30 seconds for everyone else to finish. So it's actually Happy D in second place, followed by Onifus from Fragmaster in P3. Then it's Suffer in fourth place. Fifth should be El Nano after that pole position start. Sixth goes to Nando Lonzo. Then 7 to Pekka Koivunen for world class science. 8 is Master Race Cars Gabri. In the 9th place will be who that will be. That might be actually TJ, because then it's all Payson.
Yeah, TJ classified 9th.
Yeah. So that's 10th place for Alpayson, right behind TJ.
4/10 of a second.
Yeah, P11 for Hayden, then Fragmaster's Finn UK, AK Destroyer in P13, and let's wait for the rest of the grid to get through. 14th is Jay, and who would be in the 15th? It looks like it will be Kurka87 in P15, and we are now watching Spider-Man trying to battle for P16 and 17 respectively with Chameleon. But I think the gap between these two is a bit too big.
Well, never say never, because the damage on the back of Chameleon's car is not insignificant. There's a chance it could close up quite considerably, and it does. So this isn't over. The battle for last place.
Well, that's the kind of damage you get when someone is shooting webs on you. Anyway, it looks like he's not in the striking distances of now, but he might make a better line through that final turn and maybe make a photo finish. Let's see. It looks like Chameleon had a better line through there, and Spider-Man is not close enough, so it will be Chameleon in P16 and Spider-Man P17 respectively. So great finish for these two, staying out of the trouble and capitalizing some good points at the end of this race. And it looks like we have 17 finishers, so that's almost 50% death pool, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. High mortality rate, says Michael. Anyway, Zesty gets the win in race 2 with a 36-minute run time. Happy D in P2 after TJ's drive-through penalty was upgraded to a 30-second penalty. Onifus gets a podium, third place there. Sufor and Nano teammates just off the podium in 4th and 5th, with Nando Alonso, Pekka Koivunen, Gabri, and their TJ after his 30-second penalty in P9. Then it's Alpayson in 10th with Hayden, Finn UK, AK Destroyer, Jay, Kirku87, Chameleon, and Spider-Man, your 17 finishers. And then DNFs for Roger Chen, Hachiroku, and Pantheo down to P20. And then another 11 names. Doctor, the wingman for TJ, dropped off after, only, 5 laps. So 11 laps down, with Highwatt, Rex, Onifus's wingman there in P23, HVR, Ricardo, Master, Pedro, Penguin, Pitpulga, Rocket, and Hermani. So 31 drivers starting race 2 and only 17 finishing. Zesty with the fastest lap, a 2-minute 14.83, not quite as fast as the fastest lap that Sufor managed in race 1. So Sufor will take the fastest lap honours today. Congratulations to him. Well, Michael, that was a lot of fun, as predicted. And that brings to a close round number 40 of the 2024 season of Fragmaster's Fox Friday in Live for Speed. What a series this is, and we've got 2 broadcasted rounds still to enjoy before the end of the season.
Yeah, it was another fantastic evening well spent with Fragmaster and Live for Speed, and I can wait for the next month to witness another great racing.
Yeah, the combination will be decided the week before at round 43. Remember, the championship still goes on. The drivers will be here every single week, battling it out on the track. So if you do fancy joining the series, then you can feel free to turn up next Friday in LFS S3 with a Fox at the combination, which will be announced this week at some point, I guess, or shortly after this race, I hope, so that drivers can begin to practice. Whatever you decide to do, we hope we'll see you next time for the 44th round on November 15th. And yeah, that's about all we have time for this evening. Michael, thanks very much for joining me in the commentary box as ever. That was round 40 at Kyoto Ring GP Long Reversed. Have a great evening, everybody. We've been Sim Broadcasts, and we'll see you all next time. Good night.
Good night, everyone.